The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. The Pharisees came up and they started a discussion with Jesus. They demanded of him a sign from heaven to test him. And with a sigh that came straight from their heart, he said, "Why does this generation demand a sign? I tell you solemnly, no sign shall be given to this generation." And leaving them again and re-embarking, he went away to the opposite shore. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
St. Paul says in the letter to the Philippians, he says, "I want you always to be happy, to rejoice." And he says, keep your, I can't remember the exact words, keep your hearts on all that is noble and true and beautiful. Scientists today tell us that when we think something negative, it releases something negative in our bodies. When we think positive thoughts, it releases a dopamine or some such thing in our brains that affects us positively. So we keep our minds on all that is true and beautiful, and as St. Paul urges, that we will probably lead healthier lives, certainly happier lives. But very often, we think something negative about somebody. Let's say somebody has done us, and we start to think how they could do us this, or how they could treat us so, and how I do this, and so on. And we just dig a deeper and deeper hole for ourselves in this pit. Sometimes it can be jealousy. We get jealous of a person and it can take over our whole lives. It can possess us and lead us to murder, as it does in today's first reading. So the first reading, the Lord says to Cain, "Is not sin at the door like a crouching beast hungering for you?" Sin like a crouching beast at the door, longing to eat us up. And of course it succeeded with Cain, that he thought of how God could prefer his brother's offering to his. We don't know exactly why. Cain or Abel obviously offered the best he had. We don't know what Cain offered. And there was jealousy. So jealousy steps in, and the sin is like a crouching beast at the door, waiting to come in. And jealousy opens that door, bit by bit, until, of course, the enemy comes in and destroys us and leads us to the next step in Cain's case, which is murder. We don't necessarily go that far, but jealousy can lead us to all sorts of things. Jealousy can lead us to bad talking to people or persons left, right, and center, making us unhappier and unhappier. And more sinful. We get angry. The one sin is jealousy, which is bad enough in itself, but it can lead to so many other things and can lead to general unhappiness in our whole beings. Is not sin like a crouching beast hungering for you at the door? What are you waiting for the door to open? We can open that door in all sorts of ways. We can open the door in jealousy, we can open the door in anger, in all sorts of different ways. And we release, of course, in ourselves all these negative things and all the damage they do. So to recognize, as St. Paul says, keep your mind on all that is noble, true, and beautiful. It is not easy, but when these negative thoughts come up, to replace them with thoughts that are noble and true and beautiful. When these negative thoughts come up, what I would like to do to somebody, and if I only come too close, I'm in trouble. Replace these thoughts. Recognize that it is sin at the door waiting to come in, and replace these negative thoughts with things that are positive, whatever it might be. Think of something nice that happened yesterday. Think of God, call God's name, whatever the case may be. Because what happens is sin leads to sin, leads to sin, leads to us going deeper and deeper into a hole. And our whole day is spoiled because of some stupid little incident. Somebody tells us they don't like our shoes we're wearing or something, And sometimes a stupid little thing like that can affect our whole day. We vex with the person. We shame of our shoes, we hiding them under the desk, whatever the case is. I'm using a stupid example, but don't mind. because sometimes we're well stupid. And a little thing affects us. A little thing holds on to us and ruins our day. Sin comes in and makes sure we have a bad day because of some little thing that has happened. And we think of that little thing in the context of the universe, in the context of the vastness of God. And this thing is so minor as to be not even seen, like Trinidad on a world map. We just see this one little thing, and it affects the whole life. It's not sitting there crouching like a beast waiting to come in. Don't let it come in. Keep the door well closed. Keep your minds on all that is noble and true and beautiful. And so the conversation between the Lord and Cain goes on. Where's your brother? I do not know, he replied. Am I my brother's guardian? And we all know the correct answer to that. Not necessarily the answer we will give, but we all know the correct answer is yes. We're called to look after one another. And this one another we're called to look after is not necessarily those in our household. We also have to have a vision for the whole world. And so, for example, when popes write encyclicals, they write on how something affects the whole world, because we are our brother's guardian, our sister's keeper, that we have to look after them. We have to do what is best for them, which affects, as Pope Francis told us in his last encyclical on creation, how it affects those, particularly the poorest of the poor. And to recognize the church has this responsibility to care for everybody, no matter what faith they are, no matter where they live. Because we're all our brothers and sisters, guardians and keepers. Yes, it relates on the individual basis, people who are related to. It relates on the country level of the country, but of the whole world. We have that, and that's why the church has to be concerned with everything. People sometimes say the church should stay out of politics. The church should stay out of things, economics and finance, things they don't know anything about. Well, they may not know things, but they know the principles. That in everything we have to look after our brothers and sisters good.